So it is the last day of the week for training. So it's been an awesome week, minus the fact that my bike broke. But my new bike is so freaking awesome, and I feel so like upgraded with the suspension and everything, and my little basket on the front. So that's a good thing. But today is strength and mobility. And I really, really, really love the mobility elements because they're all body weight. They're all about using your body in dynamic variations instead of just, going up and down with deadlift. You're going side to side. You're using your body. You're using it in ways that are more beneficial long term. You're using all the muscles rather than just one specific muscle. So the first exercise on the agenda, I've done a bit of mobility, which I've stretched, a little bit of warming up with mobility just to activate everything. But the first one that I actually wanted to discuss with you for today is a Nordic curl. And this is probably the most underestimated hamstring and glute exercise out there. Like, most people will go, oh, I'm just going to do some lying leg curls or some seated leg curls. No, do have Nordic curls. They are so freaking hard, so taxing, and to be able to do it fully unassisted, if you can do that, wow, like your strength level in your hamstrings must be unequivocal, like next level, like kick-assery to you. So I'm going to be running through the levels that you can hit in order to work your way up to the Nordic curl. So obviously the Nordic curl is wedging your feet underneath something. So options that you can do is, as you can see here, I've got a bar that I've just one of these bars that you can get at the gym that kind of wedge into place. You can also just take heavy dumbbells that obviously weigh more than you because you want them to stay in place. I also saw a really neat trick where the guy took a weight belt, the ones that you put around your waist for deadlifts and whatnot, and you literally loop it around a bench and underneath over your ankles, and that keeps you in place. So that is another really awesome way to do it. I mean, like, I've wedged my ankles underneath bent couches, and people, you can get someone to literally hold your ankles and you can do it. So if you've got a training partner, this is probably easiest done with a training partner because they can just hold your ankles in place. Like when people hold your ankles for crunches, except for, like, don't do crunches. There's so many more beneficial and better exercises that you can do for your core than crunches. So don't do crunches. But yes, so the Nordic curl, if you cannot do this at all, like not even with a really, really hardcore band, then I would recommend doing hip thrusts, but not like heavy hip thrust, because I find a lot of people, when they go super heavy with the hip thrust, they use too many muscles and they don't get full range of motion. So my rule for hip thrust, I don't even go heavier than like 60 kilogram hip thrust, because I find the moment I go too heavy, I start engaging too much posterior chain, and then you feel that lower back flare up, and that's not what you want for a hip thrust. The whole point of a hip thrust is glutes. So glutes and hamstrings are the two muscles, and if you start feeling that lower back flare up, either one, the weight's too heavy, or two, you're just engaging too much lower back rather than engaging your glutes and your hamstrings. So you want to make sure that it's heavy enough to work the glutes and the hamstrings, but not so heavy that you end up with this lower back pump. So if you cannot do any of these variations, that's okay. Hip thrusts are your friend. So what I would recommend is literally hip thrusts, heel only on the floor. Okay, don't put body weight fully on the floor. Don't put your entire foot on the floor. Just literally your heels, okay? And then hip thrust as high as you possibly can, to the point that you feel your glutes and your hamstrings engage, and keep it there for like 2 to 3 seconds. slowly down. Do not release completely, stay in tension, and then up again. 2 seconds, and then slowly down. Like even this, no weight, and I'm feeling it in my glutes and my hamstrings. I don't need a lot of weight in order to really feel my muscles activate, and doing it in tempo is the best way. So on to the Nordic curl. So if you can do those exercises, and even if you can do the Nordic curl, still do these hip thrusts with only your heel down and the tempo, because it's an epic finisher to any glute or hamstring exercise. And I often do that as like a drop set. So I might end with body weight hip thrusts. You can also add a little bit of weight to that if you find just body weight is a bit hard. But if you're doing it tempo, you should be long. So the first thing you need to do is obviously wedge your feet down. And then you need to take a band that is suitable to your body weight and the level that you're at. So the thicker the band, the more resistance you'll get, and the more help you'll get. So to start off, use quite a thick band to make sure that you're getting the correct form, okay? And what you want to do is you want to keep your back as upright as possible. You don't want to hunch in. And you can see sometimes when I'm trying to do it, I might hunch in, and that's because I'm not keeping my posterior up enough and allowing my hamstrings aren't strong enough and my glutes aren't strong enough to keep me upright. So the goal is keeping as upright as possible, okay? And then lower slowly, okay? You don't want to lower fast, drop, because the point is trying to activate the hamstrings and keep them under tension the entire time. So you keep yourself upright. Engage your hamstrings, 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 until the point that you can't anymore. Then you catch yourself with your hand, push yourself just as much as you can that your hamstrings re-engage. Okay, so don't push yourself all the way back up unless you cannot re-engage your hamstrings at all, in which case, just push yourself the entire way up. But the goal is, okay, so you start engaging your hamstrings and your glutes, you keep yourself upright, you squeeze your bum, you squeeze your hamstrings, squeeze your hamstrings, squeeze your hamstrings, squeeze your hamstrings until they can't take you any further. Then you drop, push yourself to the point that you can re-engage your hamstrings and pull yourself back up. It's so hard, okay? Oh, the goal is just 5 reps. So even if you can't do 5 reps, okay, 2 to 3, and then add more help with more resistant bands. So even if you have to almost do like a drop set, but you do one with as little resistance as possible and then add more and more resistance. If you've only got one band and you need more resistance, just hold more of the band, okay? So the more of the band, obviously, the more resistance you'll get. So literally, you can do a drop set by just holding more of the band, okay? But I would recommend getting a thicker band than this one to start off, because unless your hamstrings are really super strong, this exercise is hard, okay? So again, keep everything nice and tight. Engage your hamstrings, keep your glutes nice and squeezed, keep you upright, hold. Push yourself till your hamstrings re-engage, and then pull yourself upright. Oh, it's so freaking taxing. I love it. Okay, we've got 2 more. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 sets of that. So what you can also do is superset that with like a sissy variation. So because that is so hamstring dominant, you can superset it with something that works your quads. Whether you're just doing little kind of like pulses, you can do all. So let me think this through. So I do this, which is quite hard and a lot of people can't do, but I'll explain how I do it. So if you are at this level, you can do it, or you can work towards it. So you want to lean back as much as you possibly can. So your weight distribution is on your feet. Okay, your feet are folded like that. You're not like that. Okay, your feet are folded back. Okay, so weight's on your feet, and then as your weight's on your feet and your weight is back, you're going to engage your quads. By engaging your quads, you can then lift yourself up as high as you possibly can, and you're going to hold that for as long as you possibly can. It won't be long, unless again your superhuman strength allows you to hold this position and squeeze those quads, squeeze those quads, squeeze those quads. Okay, so that's set one. So I'm going to do 3 sets of that. So it's hamstring glute exercise with the Nordics, and then quads with the sissy hold. So that is going to be my superset. If you cannot do the sissy hold, variations you can do, okay, is, oh, my quads are burning still. You can do, again, use the elastic band, okay, for assistance. And you're going to lower as much as you possibly can. You might not be mobile enough to get into this position. If you're not, can you even see me? Yes, I think you can. If you cannot get into this position, just go as low as you possibly can, then use the elastic band to pull yourself back up. But you don't want to just use the band, okay? The goal is to get yourself down and then engage your quads in the same activation as you would that hold sissy thing that I just did. You engage your quads to pull you back up whilst using the band for assistance. So you engage your quads and use the band to pull yourself back up. Okay? So that will also use your quads. Again, as I say, if you can't get all the way down, that's fine. What you can do is just lower yourself as low as your body will allow you to go, and then pulse back up. And then down, use your quads, engage your quads, pull yourself back up. And obviously, try to get lower and lower with every single rep, okay? And that is such an epic superset, hitting both your quads and your hamstrings. You can do it at home. You don't need to do it at the gym. You can literally do it anywhere. Like if you've got a hotel room and a partner, or, you know, you can wrap your elastic band around a hook or a window frame or a curtain rail or a door frame or anything like that, you know, and you can do this at home. This is such an awesome superset, hitting your quads and your hamstring, body weight, and the hardest way to hit. So give it a try. So it's 3 sets, 5 of each exercise. Make sure you stay in tension. Make sure you hit the correct muscles. And even if you have to slow it down, do 1 rep, rest a little bit, 1 rep, rest a little bit. That's okay. It might take you a bit of time, but that's how you do it. Okay, so let me know how you go. If you can't do it, if you need more variations, if you need me to re-explain in more detail, let me know in the comments below, but give them a try. Okay, it's pretty epic. Okay, so we're onto the strength for the day, and because it is deload week and the numbers are a little bit lighter, I'm going to be doing a really nasty superset of front squats, pause front squats, okay, with deficit deadlifts. So it is a little bit hard to do if it's a really packed gym because you need 2 bars, obviously loaded up with the weights that you need. Remember, we're doing 60% of our 1 rep max. If you don't know how to calculate your 1 rep max, obviously go with something that you can still knock out 2 to 3 more reps. So an RPE of like 6 to 7. Otherwise, you can take the numbers of your 3x3, input them into a 1 rep max calculator, get your 1 rep max, and then take 60% of that. And that is going to be the working weight for both the front squats, even though we're doing pause front squats, and the deadlifts, okay? So my working weight for my front squats is 2.5, and for my deadlifts is 110 kilograms. And we're going to be supersetting the two. So the goal is rest as minimally as possible in front squats and the deadlifts, then rest after deadlifts, recover. If it's 2 to 3 to 4 minutes, that's absolutely fine. Remember, we're going for control, we're going for muscle activation, we're going for positioning more than strength overall. This is about deload. This is about making sure that everything is in the right place. You're driving with all the great muscles. So just a few reminders for front squats, okay? I prefer the front rack positioning where you get your elbows through. I did give you mobility exercises last week for front squats if you're not too sure how to work on opening up for the front squat. So keep your elbows as high as you possibly can. Keep your chest up. And remember, eye line will dictate where your spine goes. So if your eye line is down, you're more likely to cave in and look down. So make sure you look up in front of you or slightly up, okay? Big breath in. Keep your elbows up. Keep your chest up. And remember to go back with your squats, okay? It is not a knee forward movement. It is a bum back and down. And remember, at the bottom, pause for a second or two, then re-engage the glutes and the hamstrings as you drive your way back up. Yes, front squats are a lot more quad dominant than back squats, but you still want to make sure that at the bottom, you're engaging your hamstrings to really drive you up. Okay, so 5 pause squats, then we're going to go straight to the deadlifts. I can take off my lifters because I do have plates, so I don't want to do lifters and plate deficit. I'm just going to do plates deficits, and we're going to start. Okay. Right. So you want to superset that with the deadlifts. Okay, so deadlifts. Right, so make sure that your plates are centered underneath, okay? So because it is a deficit, you have to make sure that you really engage your back, okay, from the get-go. Otherwise, it's going to pull you forward because you're on a deficit, okay? So just make sure, remember feet positioning, okay, it's around about shoulder width apart. Feet are still mid-foot. You're going to have to go down lower in order to get the bar. So you really need to make sure that you engage your lats, your back is tight, you're looking forward to slightly up. I would actually recommend looking more up for a deficit because you don't want yourself being pulled forward by the weight, okay? Really engage, really look up, and make sure that you're driving through your glutes and your hamstrings because you want to make sure your feet are so planted, weight distribution is mid to rear of your foot, and you drive as hard as you possibly can. Big breath in before you go. We're going for 5 reps. Dead stop. Okay, so reset every single. Don't bounce. Okay. Right. So that's set 1. We got 4 more sets. And rest a little bit. But remember, no rest between front squats and deadlifts. You rest afterwards. It's a nasty superset, but fucking power. And welcome back to the end of Deload week, the last day of training before race day tomorrow, and then we ramp it right back up. The next block towards the strength program, as well as introducing a lot more hypertrophy to really maximize gains and strength, getting stronger and just overall working on every single aspect of the body, aesthetically and strength-wise. So it's gonna be epic next week. I'm really excited, but I took today quite easy, with the goal being on Monday I can really hit it hard. You know, sometimes it is important to embrace deload week, and it's one of those things that it's taken me so long to appreciate and come to terms with, that the body isn't a machine, and sometimes you actually just need to rest, recover, and let your body heal so that you can be better and stronger. You know, you taking that deload week is just going to be beneficial in the long run. So make sure you rest and you recover, because that's where the magic happens. And in the terms of magic and recovery, one of the most important things that you cannot underestimate is food. And as per usual, I am bulk cooking, so there's my meals all cooking and simmering away. And I've already done my breakfast, meal number 1. So that is my egg white and eggs and oats and banana meal, which I eat first thing in the morning. So that's all ready to go. I eat the same on rest day as I do on training days. So diet is really simple. The only difference being tonight is cheat meal. So gonna be yum. I cannot wait. So cheat meal tonight. Other than that, everything is the same. So obviously I have my oats, my eggs, my egg whites, and my bananas first thing in the morning. Then I have the yogurt post-workout, come home, have my eggs, my whole eggs, my rice, and then my mince meal, then another yogurt, and then my meatball meal last thing every single night. So it's pretty standard. As I mentioned, I've added in the 140 gram yogurt just to try and get me into maintenance. We'll see where my body fat is at tomorrow, where my weight is at tomorrow, because right now I'm happy where my physique is aesthetically, where my body fat is, and I just want to kind of cruise along where my body fat currently is. So we'll see if the yogurt was enough calories or if I need to add a little bit more. Obviously I also do some peanut butter, between 50 and 70 grams of peanut butter every night. So that is like that's like 300, 400 calories right there. So happy with this entire week, happy with deload, happy with my numbers, happy with how everything felt, muscle mind connection. And one thing that I wanted to address was meal prep. If you are like aiming towards a goal, whether you're just trying to get more into a routine, whether you're just trying to lose a bit of weight or put on muscle, any factor, meal prep is one of those things that you cannot underestimate, because the number one thing that a lot of people really struggle with is cooking after a long day of work. You know, if you're hungry and you just want to get home and you just want to have a takeaway, or you're on the run and you don't have your meals prepped, so then you end up eating out. And if all your meals are already done for the week, you have no excuse. You open the fridge and you see your meals already done, then you can't be like, oh well, I'm just going to eat out, because you're staring at meals already done that fit your macros, that fit your diet, that fit your goals, and you have no excuse. And also remember, take meals with you. Even if you think you're going to be out for an hour, you may end up for 3, 4, 5 hours, and then what are you going to do? You're either going to binge eat when you get home because you're absolutely starving, or you're going to eat out, and then you're going to give yourself the excuse that you're hungry, you need to eat, and you just go off diet. You know, and if you've got all your meals with you at all times of the day, you have no excuse but to stay on point. And the last thing you want to do is, weaken your willpower so that you end up doing something that you're going to regret, because it might undermine you hitting your goals. So be smart, be strategic, you know, meal prep where you can. It doesn't take long, you know, like an hour to meal prep for an entire week. You got no excuse, you know, like instead of watching an hour of TV or whatever you're going to do for comfort or relaxation, just meal prep, you know, it will help you loads towards your goal. Cook in bulk, freeze half of it, and you're done. You're done for the week. So that is my advice. Meal prep in bulk, get it done, and then everything is there. You've got no excuse. You can just stick to your meals. You know you're hitting your macros. You know, more importantly, you are hitting your protein, and that's where magic happens. So I did training today. I went through most of what I did today. The only thing that I kind of left out was my tricep dips on the rings. These are one of those things that you need to approach with utmost respect, because the rings are so unstable that the last thing you want to do is not feel strong and secure and confident enough in them, and you're doing the rings and the rings swing out as you're trying to do dips, and then you end up hurting yourself. So my advice is, if you're still getting into it, you're still learning what you're capable of, don't do the rings till the very end. Stick to bar dips, stick to bench dips, you know, stick to things that are a little bit more stable, and you can work up the progress, because the rings are probably one of the hardest in terms of instability, because they're both individual, they're moving, you know, they're on ropes. So just make sure if you are doing ring dips that you keep it nice and tight. You keep everything, your core, your shoulders, everything locked into position, so that when you go into the bottom of the dip, nothing swings out and then you end up, you know, tearing a pec, because I don't want that on my conscience. And I want you to make sure that you're secure in every single movement you do. So I did the triceps, and that was kind of it. I've got rock climbing tonight, so I was also like, okay, I'm going to be smart about this. I'm not going to go super crazy, because I do have rock climbing tonight. I don't know how it's going to go. I've only done rock climbing a few times, and that was years ago. So I'm excited. I'm nervous. So I'm just going to have some fun, not take it too seriously. And that's going to be kind of, I don't get out a lot. Again, not because I don't want to, just because it doesn't align with my goals, and my goals are the most important thing. You know, I have certain goals that I want to hit, and going out all night is just not something that I really enjoy. I think I'm too old for that, and my body does not like, you know, like late nights. It's just horrible for me. So that is the week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you tried out some of the hypertrophy workouts. Give the leg one a go. Give the bicep shoulder one a go. And next week, we're going to be having some fun, making some gains. Make sure that you get your form correct. Make sure that you focus on muscle-mind connection for everything. Make sure that you meal prep, because we've got goals to hit in 2024, and meal prep will help you a lot. Remember, hitting your goals is about creating habits that you can sustain long term. If it becomes a lot easier to do, then you're not even thinking about it. It's just part of your routine, like brushing your teeth, you know, like washing your hair. You do it every single day, not necessarily washing your hair, but brushing your teeth. You know, you do it every single day. Make things part of a routine that you can sustain long term, so that it's not even a thought process. It's easier to do, it requires less willpower, and you know, we've only gotten a certain amount of willpower, so eliminating things that take you physical effort to say no to or not do when you've got so many goals, you know, will just make the goals so much harder to achieve. So that is my suggestions for today. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Remember to fucking rest, because you don't get enough of it, and your muscles, if you want them to grow, they need to recover. So protein, sleep, and food.
And what else? No, just rest. Protein, sleep, recovery. Those are your magical things to growing, to getting stronger. And that is what our goal is this year. 2024, let's hit some goals. Get into routine. Meal prep. And let's hit them hard. Next week is gonna be fun.